Some punches don't leave bruises, they stay in the air like loud sounds. Jason Statham hadn't worn boxing gloves for a very long time. Not for a movie, not for a real fight. But one wild night in Las Vegas, something surprising happened. A younger fighter, who was very full of himself and didn't respect older fighters, made fun of Statham in front of millions of people. And Statham did something he hadn't done since he fought big names like Duran or Dolph Lundgren. He stepped into the fight cage, not to win a prize, but to remind the world that some heroes don't go away, they wait. The arena lights were hot. The floor under the fighters' feet almost burned. Over 20,000 people filled the big T-Mobile arena. Everyone was excited, the kind of excitement only a big UFC fight can make. Cameras flew around. Flags waved. The crowd screamed loudly. But they were all there to see just one person. Kai "The Rain" Moreno. He had never lost. Not once. He was fast, strong, and always put on a show. At just 28 years old, he had already won 18 fights. He didn't just punch, he danced, he spun, he made people cheer. He was famous on TikTok. His fights were fun to watch again and again. In his private room, Kai punched the air in front of a mirror. His eyes were sharp. He was already sweating. He moved like he had done this 100 times, fast, smooth, and flashy. A worker peeked in the room. 5 minutes, champ. Kai didn't nod. Didn't even look. He kept dancing with his reflection in the mirror, like it was a performance. His coach, Malik Beckett, stood in the corner. Arms crossed. Quiet. He looked tired and worried. He had seen many fighters like Kai, strong and shiny, but blind from too much fame. He didn't talk much anymore. Not because he didn't care, but because it was too late to stop someone from falling. There was a knock again. It was time. Across the arena, the big lights flashed as the smaller fights ended. Some crowd favorites had already come and gone. But now it was time for the main event. Big Vinny Stone, the loud announcer, walked into the ring like a circus boss. He yelled, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event." Introducing the challenger, a tough fighter with 26 wins, Marcus "the Mountain" Rivera. The crowd clapped nicely. Rivera was strong and known for winning slowly and carefully. But no one thought he could win tonight. And now, Big Vinny shouted, the undefeated, unstoppable, amazing, Kai "The Rain" Moreno. The arena went wild. Lights sparkled. Smoke shot in the air. Kai came out like a rock star. Arms up, mouth open, big smile. He twirled, posed, kissed his gloves, and smiled for the cameras. This wasn't just a fighter, this was a performer. A business. And business was great. He walked down the aisle, giving high fives, winking, dancing. The announcer said, "Look at that confidence. Look at that walk." Kai got into the cage. He barely looked at Rivera. Just gave a little smirk. The ref gave rules. Asked for a glove touch. Rivera stepped forward. Kai only winked at the front row. The bell rang. Kai jumped into action right away. No warm-up. No respect. Just attack. He threw punches fast. Left, right, spinning kicks. Rivera tried to move away, but Kai moved like a hunter. Halfway through the round, Kai started talking. "That's all you got, old man," he teased. The crowd laughed. Kai spun, kicked, and then hit Rivera with a strong knee. Rivera fell. The ref jumped in. It was over in 1 minute and 49 seconds. Kai threw his hands up, climbed the cage, and roared. "I'm the real champion," he shouted. "Bring me someone real." The crowd cheered, but some people weren't sure anymore. Kai's act felt less like bravery and more like showing off. He didn't just want to win, he wanted attention. Then, in the front row, a man stood up. No spotlight. No music. Just a man in dark jeans and a plain black shirt. It was Jason Statham. He didn't wave or talk. Just stood and looked. The cameras turned to him. The crowd went quiet. Someone whispered, "Is that really him?" Yes. Statham. Rocky. Rambo. The man who trained like a real fighter for his movies. The man who got hit by real punches in real gyms. In the cage, Kai turned to look. His smile got bigger. He pointed and laughed. No way. The legend himself. I grew up watching you. The punches, the speeches, the running, the memes. He picked up the mic. What do you say, Statham? 1 round? Show the people if Rocky still punches hard. The room buzzed. The announcers didn't know what to say. Coach Malik stood still, shocked. This was not planned. Not part of the show. This was real. Statham didn't move. Not yet. He just stared at Kai, calm, strong, steady. Then slowly, he walked toward the cage. The security guards didn't stop him. They just stepped aside. The crowd started to chant, Rocky, Rocky, Rocky. In the cage, Kai smiled even more. He thought he had won again. But he hadn't, not yet. When Statham stepped forward, something changed. The air in the arena got heavy. Even the cameras moved slower, like they respected him. Statham didn't smile. He didn't wave. He only looked at Kai. Kai was 40 years younger. Faster. Louder. But he didn't know what kind of mistake he had just made. From inside the cage, Kai leaned back against the wall. He looked like a comedian on stage. Grinning, arms wide. He grabbed the mic again. Come on, man. Just 1 round. No judges. No belt. Just a little fun between generations. Let's see what all those training scenes taught you. Some fans laughed. Some booed. It was hard to tell who they were booing, Kai or the idea of the fight. UFC staff looked worried. Was this even allowed? What about safety? What about insurance? But the crowd didn't care anymore. They could feel something rare happening. This wasn't fake. It wasn't planned. It was one man's pride meeting another man's honor. Backstage, UFC boss Dana White was on the phone. Lawyers were yelling. Sponsors were nervous. But inside the arena, the energy was growing too strong. Statham kept walking. Slow, calm steps. He reached the bottom of the stairs. A security guard asked, "Are you sure, sir?" Statham nodded. He climbed up. The crowd roared, not just like fans at a fight, but like people watching something special. Inside the cage, Kai bounced around happily. He turned to his coach. "Can you believe this? This is going to break the internet." Coach Malik didn't answer. He looked scared. He knew what Kai didn't. Some men don't show up for fun. They show up for honor. Statham stepped into the cage. No music. No lights. Just his feet hitting the floor. He looked around once. Then walked to the middle. Big Vinny tried to talk. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing something amazing." Statham raised one hand. Vinny stopped. Statham didn't talk. Didn't smile. Didn't pose. He looked at Kai. Gave a tiny nod. It wasn't a yes. It was a challenge. Kai raised his arms. "I'll take that as a yes. Let's give the people a show." The crowd screamed. Phones lit up the arena like stars. The internet exploded. Clips started to spread. Before the fight even started, Coach Malik ran to the side of the cage. "Kai, get over here right now," he shouted. Kai ran over, full of energy and excitement. "Did you see him?" Kai said. "He actually came up. This is crazy." Coach Malik grabbed Kai's shoulder hard. "Listen to me," Malik said very seriously. "That man might be 76 years old, but he's not here for fun. He's not playing. He trained with real fighters. He got hit, hurt, and kept going. He made his body strong with pain and hard work. He's not here for a photo. He's here to make a point." Kai smiled and shrugged. "It's a show, coach. I'll take it easy. We'll dance a little, maybe take a selfie after." "You're not listening," Coach Malik said. His voice got quieter. "I've seen that man train. I've seen him bleed and stand up again. You fight to be famous. He fights to live." But Kai had already walked away. He was feeling too cool, too proud. The referee walked into the cage. He looked nervous but ready. "All right, gentlemen, this is a 1-round match. 5 minutes. No winner, no loser. Protect yourselves at all times. You can touch gloves if you want. Kai held out his glove and smiled. Hope you brought your special shoes, old man, he joked. Statham touched gloves once. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He was just ready. Up in the commentary booth, Sienna Torres, a smart and calm UFC commentator, spoke into her microphone. Her voice was slower now, more serious. Tonight isn't just a fun match. It's something strange. Young versus old. Loud versus quiet. Maybe a lesson versus a legacy. The referee looked at both fighters. You ready? He asked. They both nodded. Ding. The bell rang. And the whole world stopped breathing. The first 5 seconds were all Kai. He rushed forward like a rocket. His arms were loose, his legs were springy. He threw a fake jab and then spun with a fancy kick. It looked cool, like something from a movie. Statham didn't move. The kick missed by just a little, but Kai didn't care. He grinned and looked at the cameras. That's all you got, legend? He teased. The crowd screamed and clapped. They loved the show. But Statham stayed still. He moved just once. A small step to the middle of the cage. His feet were flat on the floor. His shoulders were straight. No dancing, no flash. Just stillness. Sienna Torres spoke again. This is strange. Kai's trying everything. But Statham isn't even blinking. Kai ran in again. Right hook, fake uppercut, body punch. Fast. Strong. Expert level. But nothing hit. Statham moved just enough to avoid it, like he was walking through the wind. Calm. Easy. The other announcers started to notice. Look at his head. It's like he already knows what Kai's going to do. Kai stopped. He wiped sweat off his chest. He looked confused, but tried again. This time he went low. A move he used before to beat older fighters. But Statham dipped his shoulder and turned just a little. No fighting. Just smooth redirection. Like water moving around a rock. In the crowd, an old boxer leaned forward in his seat. He whispered to no one, "That's Philly. Old school defense. That's not acting. That's real muscle memory." Kai backed away. His breathing was heavier now. His cocky smile was smaller. He shook his head and nodded, like saying, "Okay, not bad." Then came more moves. A flying knee. A spinning elbow. A fast high kick. All in 4 seconds. The crowd went wild. But none of it touched Statham. He didn't try to be faster. He just knew where to stand and when. In the corner, Coach Malik folded his arms and watched. "It's happening," he said quietly. "Kai's not just getting outclassed. He's being studied." Asterisk asterisk. Sienna whispered, "This isn't just defense. Statham is letting him do everything. And saying nothing. The silence is louder than any punch." Everything changes. Then, something shifted. It wasn't a big hit. It wasn't a fancy move. Kai moved in. He faked a step. And Statham, for the first time, stepped forward. Just a tiny bit. Then came a punch. Not fast. Not hard. Just perfectly timed. It hit Kai right in the chest. Not the face. Not the jaw. Just above the stomach. It didn't hurt a lot. But it felt like something heavy pressed into his soul. Kai stumbled backward, his eyes wide. He had been hit harder before. But not like that. This wasn't just a punch. It was a message. The crowd didn't cheer. They gasped. Everyone watching could feel something was different now. And for the first time, Kai looked unsure. He walked around, shook his arms, and smiled to the crowd. But the smile looked fake now. He tried again. Hook. Jab. Knee. Clean and strong. But Statham blocked all of it. Not with speed, but with simple moves. Right angles. Right posture. Another soft block. Another quiet movement. Another lesson. Statham still hadn't said a word. But every move was shouting, "Watch. Learn." Kai ran in again. This time, he wanted to prove something. He went low and grabbed Statham around the waist. A strong wrestling move. But Statham didn't fight back. He just turned a little, moved his foot, and spun Kai off balance. Kai fell to the ground. Not hurt. Just surprised. He rolled, got up fast, breathing heavily now. The clock showed only 2 minutes had passed. Only 2. Coach Malik shouted, "Settle down. Use your feet. Don't chase ghosts." But Kai wasn't listening. He charged again. Faster. Harder. But Statham stayed still. Calm. Steady. Sienna's voice cracked a little. "I've watched hundreds of fights, but I've never seen something like this. It's like, he's not fighting Kai. He's fighting something inside him." The storm grows quiet. There were 2 minutes left. Kai was slowing down. Not because he wanted to. Because he had to. He was breathing hard. His legs were tired. His eyes were searching. But he wasn't finding Statham. He was finding a wall. Across the cage, Statham stood the same way. He had only thrown 3 punches. But each one had said more than all of Kai's moves. Then Kai prepared his special move. The big one. A huge leaping punch, the kind that ends fights fast. He jumped. He swung. He missed. Statham didn't hit back. He didn't hurt him. He just stepped forward with his shoulder, bumped Kai a little, and looked him in the eyes. Still no words. Still no smile. But his eyes said, "That's not power. That's just noise." Kai stepped back. He was sweaty. Tired. The crowd was quiet now. Not bored. But quiet like in church. They felt something real was happening. Statham's hands were still up. His body is still strong. He looked like a statue that only moved when he needed to. One of the announcers finally said what everyone was thinking. He's not here to win. He's here to reveal something. And Kai is just now figuring that out. Kai was trying hard to land a punch, but it wasn't working. The other man, Statham, wasn't even trying to fight back. He just stood there, calm and still, like someone who had seen much scarier things in life than punches. The clock ticked slowly. There was only 1 minute left in the round. Kai tried again. This time, he spun around with his elbow and jumped to throw his knee. It looked cool, but it was wild and messy. It was like he was trying to show off because he didn't know what else to do. Statham ducked under the spinning elbow. He stepped to the side when the knee came. Then for the first time he threw a punch. Not a big one, not a fast one, just a simple right-hand punch. It hit Kai in the belly, right under the ribs. Kai stopped. He wasn't hurt badly, but something inside him got quiet. He didn't understand what was happening. He stepped back 2 times and bent over a little, holding his stomach. His eyes opened wide. He couldn't breathe properly. That punch didn't make him fall down. It didn't hurt too much. But it took something away from him, not something on the outside, but something deep inside. Something quiet. Something important. Statham didn't run after him. He didn't try to hit him again. He just stood there, moving his feet slowly, standing ready. He was waiting. Calm. Still. Like a rock. Kai's coach, Coach Malik, yelled from the side, "Don't fight. Just stay up until the round is over." But Kai couldn't hear him. All he could hear was his own breathing. His heart was pounding. His thoughts are spinning. There were 30 seconds left. Kai moved again. But now, he was slower. He didn't have his usual rhythm. His cool moves were gone. What was left was just a young man who didn't know where he was anymore. Not because he was losing the fight, but because someone truly saw him. Statham didn't just see punches. He saw everything about Kai, every mistake, every habit, every tiny moment. It was like Statham had watched Kai's whole career and knew all the answers already. Statham took a small step forward. Then another one. He didn't throw punches. He just stood closer. Like he was taking up space, not just on the floor, but inside Kai's mind too. Kai stepped back until his foot touched the cage behind him. He was trapped, not by Statham's hands, but by his own thoughts. He didn't know what to do. But Kai wasn't done yet. He had one move he always trusted. A big jumping punch with his right hand, the one that had knocked out so many other fighters before. He threw it with all his strength. But Statham didn't panic. He moved his head just a little, and the punch flew right past his ear. Then he reached out and touched Kai's shoulder with his glove. Just a soft touch. Gentle. But it meant something big. It meant, you didn't scare me. I was never in trouble. The bell rang. The round was over. The crowd started clapping. But it wasn't loud cheering. It was soft, like waves in the ocean. People stood up slowly. Not screaming. Just clapping gently. Kai was standing in the middle of the cage. He was breathing hard. His hands on his knees. Blood dripped a little from his nose. Not because of a big punch, but because everything that happened was so careful and exact. Statham stood across from him. He was standing tall. His gloves were down. He looked straight at Kai, not angry, not proud. Just calm. He didn't need to say anything. He had already shown everything. Up in the booth, where the people talk on the microphones, Sienna Torres spoke in a quiet voice. She said, "What we just saw wasn't a fight. It was a change. Kai came in here undefeated. But he's going to leave differently. And maybe that's the real point." Both fighters went back to their corners. Kai sat on his stool. His eyes looked far away. Coach Malik didn't speak. He just kneeled and wiped the blood from Kai's nose. Across the cage, Statham didn't sit down. He stayed standing. His breathing was calm. His eyes were clear. His job wasn't to hurt Kai. It was to show him something. And it had only taken 17 seconds. Later, in the locker room, everything was quiet. Not sad. Not angry. Just very, very quiet. The kind of quiet that comes after you see something true. Kai sat on the bench. He didn't have his shirt on. His gloves were off. One line of blood was drying under his nose. His team was nearby. But no one said a word. Not even Coach Malik. He just stood there with his arms crossed. In the corner of the room, a TV screen was playing the fight again. Over and over. Slow motion. It showed Statham stepping in. Kai missed his big punch. That small hit to the belly. That little move to the side. The crowd's gasp. The bell. The video was already being watched by millions of people. But Kai didn't look. He stared at the floor like he was trying to find answers there. A doctor came in. She checked his eyes. Asked him to follow a light. Everything was fine. No head injury. No broken bones. Nothing they could write down. She left. Still, no one talked. Finally, Coach Malik spoke. "You okay?" Kai didn't look up. He just nodded. It wasn't true, but it was the only answer he had. Coach Malik sat across from him. "You know what happened out there?" Kai let out a breath. "I missed," he said. "I wasn't focused." Coach Malik shook his head. "No. You didn't lose focus. You lost your reflection." Kai looked confused. "You've been fighting mirrors," Malik explained. "Fighting people who looked like your past fights. But Statham didn't show you yourself. He gave it back to you. He showed you something real." Kai finally looked up. His eyes weren't mad. They weren't even sad. Just confused. "He didn't even hit me hard," Kai said. "He didn't throw a lot of punches. But I still couldn't touch him. He saw everything I was going to do." Malik nodded. "That's not because he's older. That's because he's deeper. He's lived more. Lost more. Learned more." Kai looked at the floor again. He spoke softly. "I thought I was building something big. A legacy. With all my wins, all my knockouts, all the videos and fans. But tonight, it all felt fake. The trash talk. The cameras. The show." Malik leaned closer. "That's the part no one tells you," he said. "When you get really high up, you don't see more. You just see clearer. And sometimes, you realize you've been climbing the wrong thing." Kai sat with those words for a long time. Then he picked up his phone. There were thousands of messages. So many people were talking about the fight. Headlines were everywhere. "Statham teaches a lesson in 17 seconds. Rocky goes real." Kai didn't open the messages. He opened his camera. Found the clip of the fight. Pressed play. He watched himself miss. He watched Statham stay calm. He watched that small punch land. Then, he pressed delete. Just one tap. Quiet. Simple. Malik saw it. But I didn't say anything. After a while, Kai stood up. Walked to the sink. Splashed water on his face. Looked at his reflection. It didn't look broken. Just different. Like he was seeing himself for the first time. He had gone into that cage hoping for applause. But he came out holding his own pride in his hands, like it had been burned. Behind him, Malik spoke again. I trained with a guy once, he said. Back in Philly. Long time ago. He said Statham used to sneak into real boxing gyms between movie shoots. He sparred with real fighters. Took hits from them. Didn't back down. Kai turned around. Why? He asked. Why would he do that if it was just acting? Malik shrugged. Maybe because it wasn't just acting to him. Maybe he wanted to know if the stories he told were real. And maybe tonight, he wanted to remind you that truth doesn't get old. It just waits. Kai sat down again. Quiet. Then he said, so softly that it almost disappeared. I want to understand. Malik looked over. Understand what? What I felt in there, Kai said. Why one round changed me more than all my wins ever did. Malik didn't answer. He just stood up. Put on his coat. Walked to the door. Then he stopped and turned. If you want to understand, he said, you need to ask the man who showed it to you. Because he didn't break you. He gave you a gift. Then Malik left. And Kai sat there, still and quiet, like someone who had just been told a secret too big to forget. Kai sat all alone again. He looked down at his hands. They didn't have gloves on now. No tape. Just skin. His hands were a little bruised, but they felt real, really real, for the first time in his whole life. The quiet around him didn't scare him. It felt right. It made sense. It was still dark when Kai came to the gym. The gym sat on a small, quiet street in East Los Angeles. It was the kind of place people walked by without even noticing. There was no big sign. No bright lights. Just an old, rusty gate and a faded door. The windows had paint that was peeling off. The air smelled like old sweat and rubber mats. There was no music. No one said hi. But Kai knew this was the right place. Inside, there was just one light bulb. It lit up the middle of the mat on the floor. And there he was, Jason Statham. He was already warming up. He was stretching slowly. He was breathing deep. He wasn't showing off. He wasn't doing it for anyone else. This was just what he always did. Kai stepped inside. He didn't say anything. He just gave a little nod. Statham didn't smile. He didn't talk. He just pointed to a corner of the mat. Wrap up, his hand seemed to say. They started training. No cameras were there. No one gave instructions. No one made small talk. Statham handed Kai a jump rope. 10 minutes, he said. Then, it was time to wrap his hands. After that, it was time for the heavy punching bag. 3 rounds. Full power. No breaks. Kai did everything just as Statham showed him. He hit the bag harder than he had in a long time. But it didn't feel angry. It felt good. It felt like cleaning something inside of him. Every time he hit the bag, it felt like he was taking off something heavy. Every drop of sweat felt like it was washing away the noise in his mind. After the 3rd round, Statham pointed to some gloves. Kai slid them on. They didn't fight each other. Not yet. Statham just watched as Kai moved. He had him do footwork drills. Then shadowboxing. Then some punching combinations. Kai moved fast and tried hard. Then, without saying anything, Statham walked over to the punching bag. He started hitting it himself. What Kai saw wasn't perfect. It wasn't fast like a young person. But it was strong. It was clean. Every move looked like it came from years of memory. Every punch had weight, not the kind that knocks someone out, but the kind that comes from deep inside. After almost an hour, Statham finally spoke. You move fast, he said. But you move for the wrong reasons. Kai stood still. His gloves hung by his sides. Statham looked at him and said, You're still fighting for the crowd. You're still chasing the noise. Kai looked down. "I don't want to anymore," he said. Statham walked to the middle of the mat and sat down with his legs crossed. He didn't tell Kai to sit, but he waited. After a few seconds, Kai sat down too, copying his posture. The room got quiet. Not a weird quiet. Just a peaceful one. Then Kai said, "I thought I had to be loud to matter. I wanted to be on the highlight reels. I wanted to be unforgettable." Statham nodded slowly. "I know," he said. "The world loves that. But what the world forgets is that silence lasts longer." Kai looked at him and asked, "How do you carry it? The pressure? The image? The feeling that you always have to be great?" Statham spoke softly. "I didn't carry it," he said. "It carried me. And when it dropped me, all that was left was the work. The training. The discipline. That's when I started again. That's when I stopped pretending to be a fighter and started training like one." Kai swallowed. "I've been doing this for 10 years, he said. "And I'm not even sure I ever really learned how to fight. Not like this." Statham looked him in the eye. "Fighting isn't about proving something," he said. "It's about showing the truth. When you're tired, when you're trapped, when your plan doesn't work, that's when the real you shows up." Kai let out a deep breath. "I want to keep learning," he said. "Not for belts. Not for the cameras. Just because I need to." Statham stood up and held out a hand. "Then get up," he said. "We start again tomorrow. 5 a.m. No media. No managers. Just the mat. Just the mirror." Kai took his hand. It was strong and real. The kind of handshake that didn't need clapping or cheers. Statham turned and walked toward the back room. But before he left, he stopped and said one more thing. "If you want to stay in this game, don't chase moments. Chase mastery. The moments will come after." Then he walked away, leaving Kai standing alone under the flickering bulb. Kai stood in the center of the mat. He was breathing slowly. His gloves were still on. The ring wasn't loud now. It wasn't flashy. But for the first time, it felt true. It felt honest. The gym didn't care who he had been before. It only cared about who he was ready to become. Then came fight night. The arena was full again. The same bright lights. The same chants. The same loud crowd. But something inside Kai had changed. He stood in the hallway outside the tunnel. His gloved hands hung by his sides. He was breathing slowly. No music played. No cameras buzzed around him. His team stood beside him. They were quiet. They were focused. For once, no one was trying to hype things up. This wasn't a show. This was a return. Across the cage, a younger fighter waited. He was strong. He had never lost. He was fast and fierce, just like Kai used to be. The media loved it. They called it a clash of eras. They said it was a redemption fight. The internet was full of hype. But Kai didn't care. He wasn't here to fix the story. He was here to live the next part of it. His walk to the cage was slow and calm. No fireworks. No loud music. Just him walking under the lights. The crowd didn't scream like before. This time, they stood up slowly. They made a different kind of noise, a quiet one. A respectful one. He stepped into the cage and nodded at his opponent. No angry talk. No mean looks. Just a simple "I see you." Then the bell rang. The fight began. But this wasn't the old Kai. There were no wild punches. No risky moves. He moved with care. With skill. With calm. Every punch had a reason. Every step had a purpose. The first round was tough. Both fighters were strong. The young fighter was fast and sharp. But Kai stayed cool. He took the hits, moved smart, found his range. In the third round, it ended. Not with a big knockout. Not with shouting. Just with a perfect takedown and a clean submission. His opponent tapped. Kai let go right away. No extra moves. No showing off. He helped the other fighter up. The crowd stood up. This time, not for fireworks, but for something more, something real. In the post-fight interview, someone handed him a microphone. The crowd got quiet. Kai took a breath. First of all, he said, respect to my opponent. He's young. He's dangerous. He'll be back. The crowd clapped. But Kai's voice got softer. 3 months ago, I thought being a fighter meant being the loudest, he said. The fastest. The one with the biggest highlight reel. He paused. But then I met someone, he said. He didn't say much. He didn't try to beat me. But he showed me I was wrong. Kai looked toward a dark seat at the edge of the arena. Statham sat there. No spotlight. No smile. Just watching. That moment changed everything for me, Kai said. Not just how I fight, but why I fight. He gave the mic back. No big speeches. No big words. Just the truth. After his checkup in the press, the arena emptied out. Backstage, Kai sat in a hallway. His hands were still wrapped. The quiet felt good now. Then his phone buzzed. One message. From a number that had never texted before. It said, well done. Not because you won, but because you listened. The journey continues. 5 a.m. Kai smiled. Not a big grin. Just a soft, small smile. Across the city, Statham sat in a car. He was leaving the arena. The driver asked, everything went as expected, sir? Statham looked out the window. His voice was low. Better. A few days later, Kai was back at the same old gym. No cameras. No reporters. Just sweat, hard work, and silence. The mat waited. The lesson wasn't over. Because some victories don't come with belts or cheers. They come with trying again. They come with quiet. They come with starting fresh. And for the first time in his life, Kai Moreno was exactly where he needed to be. Enjoyed the story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I always love chatting with you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss the next wild ride. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, stay curious and keep the adventure alive.